For years, Jews in YESHA have claimed discrimination by the police and state authorities. Now Arutz Sheva of the YESHA Human Rights Organization has authored a report seeming to confirm these views. Shalom to Nadav Etzni, the lawyer for the YESHA Human Rights Organization. Could you explain what exactly is this report?
Well, this is a report that deals with the implementation of the law in the territories of Judea and Samaria. Now, unlike the general idea or the general thought that is being reflected in the Israeli media and maybe also in the international, as if there is a lack of role of law towards the Israeli inhabitants, the Jewish settlers, the picture that this report draws is completely different, is the opposite. And what is more interesting is that this report does not bring general ideas, atmosphere, or even thoughts. It brings information, strict and very vast information that is separated to various sections. There's this question of the implementation of the law. People tend to say, the media tend to say, that the Israeli authorities does not implement the law towards Israeli settlers in Judea and Samaria, and does strictly implement the law towards the Palestinian inhabitants. The picture that this report brings is the opposite, with numbers of, first, numbers of policemen. If you'll take the ratio between the number of policemen in Netanya, a town in Israel with severe problems in the field that the police is essential, and you'll compare it to the ratio in Judea and Samaria with the police that deals actually only with the Jews, which is actually against the Jews, the Mahoz Shai, the Shai district police, then you'll find that the ratio in Netanya is one policeman to 1,045 inhabitants, civilians. In Shai district, it's 1 to 241. Second, what are the regulations? The report brings very interesting regulations, inner regulations, unexposed, unpublished, that exists in the Israeli judicial office, Misrad HaMishpatim, and that also went down to the police. It brings, for example, it deals with questions of how do you deal with suspicions, various suspicions. And first, there are regulations that force the police to open files when there is nobody who complains, unlike inside the Green Line, inside Israel. Second, there are the teams that are being appointed in Judea and Samaria for regular violation of order, minor things. There is an obligation to put a team over this case, this file, something that does not exist inside in the Green Line. If you check the number and the percentage of files that are being brought to court in Judea and Samaria, you'll find that the ratio in Judea and Samaria is much higher than inside the Green Line.
But could it be that there is just more crime in Judea and Samaria?
No. In comparison, we're talking about the ratio. I'm not talking about. Okay. It's a good question. Whether there are more crimes, there are more. The manner of the people, of the Jewish settlers in Judea and Samaria, is more. There are more criminals. So you have to check what's the result. How many files from these files that are being brought? What is the ratio of convictions? You find with numbers that the number of the conviction is much lower than inside the Green Line. So this the conclusion is very simple. The police and the district attorney brings much more files in comparisons, their finger is much lighter on the trigger in Judea and Samaria towards Jewish settlers, but their success is much lower than inside the green line because their files are not based. These are the numbers. They go to court when they don't have evidence, while inside the green line they act differently. This is discrimination. The Shamgar Committee brought up internal regulations. These internal regulations has been exposed several years ago. Some of them have been cancelled, but actually some of the regulations are discriminative regulations, and they do exist.
So why would this be taking place?
Well, we know. The reason is widely known. The certain elements inside the State of Israel, media, inside elements in the academy, elements in the judicial system, wants to present a picture as if these people, these Jews in Judea and Samaria, are, I would say, people who their attitude who has criminal attitude, and he wants to draw these people in black paint.
Now, you've been talking about discrimination against Jews, but does the government treat anti-Zionist Jews differently than nationalists?
We find that the attitude, the very harsh attitude that is being implemented towards the Jews, towards settlers and their supporters, this harsh attitude is not implemented towards, for example, certain bodies that are assisting the Arabs and that are even stand behind severe violations of the law. For example, anarchistic elements that works there. For example, there is a weekly event in Na'alin where they build the separation fence. And every Friday you'd find there demonstrations, stones, and so on. And Israeli soldiers and policemen are being injured weekly. Now, one would ask how many files have been opened in these events, in these constant weekly events. I've checked this question. I even asked this police spokesman. The numbers are almost nothing. And if you compare it to the numbers that you have, and you compare it to the attitude of opening files, of going immediately to court, and so on and so forth, and special investigative teams, you'd find, and you come to the conclusion that again there is also very, very strict and very, very severe discrimination.
Nadav Etzny, thank you very much.